And I will use the metaphor of dating, right? Everything is marketing. I believe you got married because you did a good marketing, or bad, depends, or maybe your wife did a better marketing spiel. Doesn't matter. Everything is marketing. You see it in nature. You see the peacock with his feathers saying, "Oh, I got a red feather. He only got green and smaller one. I'm the guy." Everything is about marketing, right? So let's look at the ritual of dating and see how it's the same thing here, really, right? You should do the same things here. So first of all, uh, so maybe it's good for the peacock to go all around like that. You don't want to oversell yourself, right? When you go on a first date or you're trying to get a date, you're not saying, "Hey, by the way, so I'm George. I can play Stairway to Heaven. I can jog. I am very talented. I studied at Harvard." No, you're gonna say that so many times on your second date, but right, you don't want to oversell yourself. It doesn't work on sophisticated human beings. So when you go on that stage, you don't want to say how amazing you are and how cool you are. That you say for your tech conferences. People like it there, not really here. They don't like to see people brag, talk about their offices, and that together the team has 2005 years of experience. Spare us. Talk to the point, show them you understand your market, you understand the idea, you're smart, you're different. That's the way to go. Don't suck. If you know your company is, not an amazing one, and basically everybody else told you no, you're a penny stock, whatever it is, you're trying to get a dime and you think the family office is going to help you, you're wasting your time and money because they are sophisticated investor. So when you looked at the junk bonds, who bought the junk bonds? I think mostly elderly people that didn't have the tools to understand what they're doing. At the blockchain era, we had many family offices in the blockchain era. But who do you think bought all the crappy companies, which means 98.9% of the companies that went on in that space? The people, the masses, because they were in some sort of a cult and it was a hot thing, and it works for them. I looked at some white papers and I said, I gotta meet the guy that wrote this thing, because if he got away with this, he can get away with anything. So not them. They are sophisticated investors. And if you don't have a good story and a good company and a good management, you're not going to raise capital. I had this guy that came to me and said, "Hey, I didn't raise anything at your conference. I was at this trade show in Vegas and we raised so much." What trade show? What are you talking about? What, are we selling fish here? This is a small, intimate meeting, and your spiel would work in Vegas at a trade show for people that, they have some money, 100K to spend, but they don't have the tools or the sophistication to understand that your offering is crappy, right? Be ready when you meet the families, right? Just like you're getting ready for a date, you don't just come from your jogging exercise. Be ready, because I've seen amazing companies sometimes ruin their presentation, because when they come, they're suddenly being asked questions like, "How are you going to penetrate the market? What's your burn rate? Tell me about your valuation." And they didn't really know what to say on one or two things for whatever reason. Maybe they had the answers but didn't speak to the CFO before. And once they see one or two points aren't there, then it becomes, like a trend of people asking you questions and starting to think you don't know what you're doing and this is wrong and that's wrong, and you lost it. So be prepared. Make sure you got all the right answers and do the right math. I had a great company, really a great entrepreneur. He had people waiting to speak to him at a dinner, and he didn't raise a dime. After several months, I spoke with him, and he said, "You know what? In retrospect, my valuation was too high." So maybe you got a good product, but your valuation is too high. Maybe you got a bad product. Maybe you got whatever it is. If it's not strong, not the family offices. Go after the messes. Follow up and don't follow up. How do you do that? So same thing like dating. You on one hand don't want to call just the next day after your first date and say, "Hey, I'm the guy from yesterday. What's up? How are you doing?" And call 4 hours later. "Hey, you remember me? I'm the guy from 4 o'clock. Just checking on you. Didn't call me." And of course, the point is here that you don't want to be too pushy. You don't want to look too distressed, even if you're in despair. You don't want to let them know you are. You want to take it easy. but you should follow up. I've seen also companies that say, oh, we sent them an email and they didn't come back to me. Oh, Your Majesty, would you like caviar with your when they call you, or massage? What do you mean they didn't call you? Just because you think you're so great doesn't mean that everybody's gonna run after you. Call them, remind them, it's okay. You're doing follow up. You want money from them. You want trust. They want trust. I have no idea what I meant with the trust thing. No, I think you do understand. Understand the mindset of the families. Families take time, like any relationship. If you want it to be a long lasting, have patience, invest. Same thing here, right? Some families takes them a year to make a decision, but once they are there and they're happy, they'll bring their friends, they'll bring others, and but you're meeting the actual investor, not the middleman, not the VC even that is an investor. You're meeting the source of wealth that's there forever. You develop a relationship, take it easy, develop the relationship. You know how when you think about all those love songs, if you would take the lyrics out and just say them to somebody, like that song, I can't live if living is without you. I can't live, I can't give anymore. If you would say that to your wife, she would probably call the police, send you a shrink, and run the hell out of there. Um, and most dates would end even worse. So understand that that something that works in, I like this example. When something works in one medium, it doesn't necessarily mean it would work in another. And families come sometimes, presenters come sometimes with the same presentation for a conference and a dinner and an online session. Completely different mediums, completely different challenges, right? When you go to a conference, you do your lecture, people will have time for 1, 2 questions, maybe. You're good. When you go to a dinner, 60 minutes with families, 20 families sitting looking at you like that, that's a different story. You gotta be prepared. You're gonna be asked loads of questions. And I believe everyone must market, but I'm just saying, if you know your solution is not really serious and you're going after your last resource of wealth, don't go to family offices. They're too sophisticated for you. They'll see that. And I think you see, some would say, oh, it's the lousy companies that need to market themselves and do all that. We don't need that because we're so cool. Don't get confused. VCs, for instance, or Berkshire Hathaways that build reputation, they don't need the small money. They get all the funding they want. And then maybe the ones that are not as good need to try harder. That's not the same with companies. When Mobileye was going after VCs, they couldn't get funded in the beginning. If I'm not mistaken, don't shoot me if I'm wrong, because it didn't fit the criteria of all these VCs, because they did something that wasn't in line with their strategy. How stupid, of course. Would the family say that? The family would say, I like that. And I know several families that made a fortune investing with Mobileye. Ask Uri Levine how many doors were shot in its face with Waze. Ask Dov Moran, that invented the flash drive and sold for almost $2 billion, how he had to tell his employees, we don't have money to pay you. Either you go right now and good luck, or you're staying with me, I'm not paying your salaries. Or George Lucas, that nobody wanted to do his film and later buy the rights for his Star Wars figures. So great opportunities need to market just like others. You'd see many companies and VCs that would never get a chance with the institutionals or the banks because they don't check all the boxes, or they're too small, or they don't have a track record. And families would also prefer you would have these things, but they would look deeper and would not miss Mobileye.